obviously now it's time for Compas on the LA. Gilbert, what was your obviously um some controversy over the weekend with Brandon Staley? I mean, I guess nothing can be easy when you're the LA Chargers. Obviously the Chargers go into Denver. A lot of unknown whether they would sit players or not. Obviously the Chargers knew before they hit the field that they had secured the 5th seed. The Cincinnati Bengals had beaten the Baltimore Ravens, and they had secured the 5th seed. Brandon Staley decides to play his players, his starters, and deep into the game, Mike Williams gets hurt in the second quarter, needs help to get onto the bus. Joey Bosa had played in the first half. He had a sack and I think 2 pressures, and Brandon Staley said, hey, you're good to go. Some people saw him limp off. He did limp off, but Brandon said he's fine. Kenneth Murray had a stinger, but Brandon said he's fine. Brandon said that all 3 players will be fine and should play on Saturday. But Gilbert, what was your impression about Brandon Staley's decision? And let's start with the positive in a sense. Chargers get the 5th seed. They played Jacksonville. What have you thought about them? And then obviously, what did you think about Brandon Staley's decision?
Yeah, Fernando, I know you really want to hear my take here on what happened with Brandon Staley playing stars
Well, I mean,
because
you've been around the organization. You're a
yeah,
veteran here,
but
so
I was
you
gonna
know
say
this.
usually we kind of talk, we have some good banter when the show starts, and today was like, how does Seattle go? Oh, okay, get over with. What do you want to say about
No,
Brandon Staley?
I asked you for. I know I asked you about this. You were the one that was sure. You're like, oh well, Kansas City's better. By
I'm
the way, you
kidding.
hear that, Seahawks fans? Kansas City is better.
Well, the
Uh,
crowd environment, but
and Dan and Diego would continue saying that you're just riding that Kansas City horse all the way through. So
we'll discuss later who I might be rocking with. But yeah, I was covering the Rams Seahawks game at the same time as the Broncos Chargers game, and focus on the game I'm covering for the first half.
you had one eye this way, one eye that way. You did
Not
some.
really. I didn't care because it was a meaningless game, right? Like I saw the Bengals beat the Ravens. Like that's it. You're done. Who the heck cares about this
The most
game?
interesting meaningless game of all time, I think.
And yeah, then the Chargers became the Chargers that I know recognize so well from the 4 years I cover them, just getting in their own way. And I started seeing tweets, from you and everybody covering the team that Mike Williams got hurt. Mike Williams is getting carted off the field or whatever. And I'm like, what are you doing? Usually I don't text you guys when I'm working. I'm busy. You guys slam me with a bunch of messages that I don't read. But I was like, what are they doing? What are the Chargers and Brandon Staley doing? And you know, I get it. You have to play the game. You have one more game to go. You got to play players. And I was curious to hear Brandon Staley's comments. Like, what was the reason and what was the thinking? I thought he's gonna say something like, "Hey, my players wanted to play. We wanted momentum. This is our group decision. We went for it. And if you don't care, we don't care about your opinion." He kind of started off saying that he needed to field a team. It's not the preseason when he gets 90 players. He gets 48, 47 on game day. And I don't really like that reasoning there or excuse. And obviously doesn't care about my opinion. But if that's your thing there, then how about you focus on one player? Justin Herbert. You could easily replace him. The quarterback position is only one player. Go with Chase. You have 3 quarterbacks on the freaking roster, either Easton Stick or Chase Daniel. Just pick one. And I'm okay with it. I think the whole fan base would have been okay with that because, sure, you got to field a team. You got to be competitive. You got to play. And momentum counts for something. And I think Brandon Staley said that too for his second response of why he did what he did. And I get it. When Mike Williams goes down and you start pulling your guy, it's kind of like, whoa, I'm scared here. And you don't look like you're committed to your decision. So I get why he didn't react quickly to that. But the whole reason about you can't field the roster, like, I covered the Rams being shorthanded for the last 2 months. They got it done. Teams could get it done. If you're worried about fielding a roster, there's so many guys on the practice squad that want to get opportunities. Young players, like you could have started Josh Palmer being your number 1 wide receiver. You have so many young players that need to get repetition, but I get that you want momentum. But that was a little dangerous, reckless, and it sounds like Mike Williams is going to be okay. So maybe don't get too crazy. And like you mentioned, Fernando, they are the 5th seed. That's big. You can't forget what Brandon Staley did the whole year. But in that moment, it's kind of like, what are you thinking, Brandon? Like this offense needs Mike Williams, Fernando. He makes this offense go. He's the only downfield threat they have. He's not a speed demon, but you throw the ball up, just say F it. Mike Williams is down there. He's gonna catch it, and who can make those throws? Justin Herbert. That makes a whole difference. But I guess you got positive news, Fernando. You could take it away from there, but it seems like he's gonna be okay. I just kept scratching my head as to why they wanted to play the starters.
Yeah, no, that's what Brandon told us on Monday, that he's going to be okay, that we should see him at practice this week. So that'll be interesting. They're not going to practice Tuesday. I think it's going to be a walkthrough. And obviously, Wednesday will be the first time that they practice. So we'll see how all that goes. I think they're going to have to bring in Mr. Miyagi to fix that back. But yeah, no, definitely. And that's the thing, that's what I had said on What's Up Bolts. That's what I've said on I was on a Jacksonville radio show and they asked me about it. And I'm like, look, if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams hadn't been hurt this whole year, then okay, I would have, yeah, why don't you play him? Yeah, go ahead for a little bit. But the fact that those two guys have been hurt all season, I would not have played either one of them. I would have sat both of them. I would have brought up Jason Moore. I would have started Michael Bandy. And okay, you want to start Justin Herbert? Fine. Give him a quarter and that's it. Take him out. Let him not play the rest of the game. But I agree with you. I might have not played him either. I might have let him play a quarter just because I know Justin would want a quarter. Okay, I'll give you a quarter. That's it. Take him out. Chase Daniel in. But then right before halftime, he took a spear. And I'm talking about a WWE style spear where the guy came up and
Yeah.
just hit him right in the ribs. And you're just like, dude, you don't want that kind of hit. Now, did Justin play well? Yes, he did. Was the protection up to par? It was. It was probably one of the best games that I've seen. The protection. He was only sacked once, and he was hit that one time. But other than that, I thought they did a good job of protecting him. He had a lot of time to sit back there and try and make things happen. So that was another positive area. But it just I think Staley was a little bit over his head. I thought as soon as that second touchdown went down, I thought that's where he should have, like, okay, you've already played with fire a little bit. Take these guys out. Another area that nobody's talking about because of the Mike Williams thing also is Austin Eckler fumbled, and Austin Eckler did not look good during Sunday's game. So that's another thing going into the playoffs, that Austin Eckler just did not look good running the football. Catching the football, obviously he did, but running the football, he didn't look good at all. So that's going to be something to watch. And then obviously the defense struggled at times. They were suffocating Russell Wilson. Joey Bosa got a sack. He got a couple of hurries as well, and he hit him once or twice. But definitely it's gonna. Kyle Van Noy continues to streak 5 sacks in the last 5 games. So that's something very positive going into the playoffs. But another guy, Derwin James, he did need to play. Derwin hadn't played in a long time. He has been in and out of the lineups in all of the month of December, so he did need to play. Derwin says he feels fresh, ready to go. So we'll see how that goes into this weekend. But I guess kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't play these guys. And just for all the positive people out there, last year, neither one of the teams that went to the Super Bowl won Week 18. So there you go. That's a positive. I guess if you want a positive there, but I was with everybody. I understood the frustration. But man, it could have gone south. Really, it could have gotten a lot worse than what it did. So I hope Brandon kind of learned from this. And Brandon told us said on Monday. They asked if the players are in on those decisions. He's like, no, those decisions are mine.
Okay.
He's like, we're collaborating with the coaching staff, with the front office and ownership. And he said that it was their decision and that obviously they tell it to the players. Justin Herbert said, we wanted to play, we wanted to go, we wanted to do this. We're with the front office and whatever decision they make. So you have the quarterback's backing, but at the same time, it could have gone a lot worse than what it was. So they should be lucky. Obviously, if Mike plays on Saturday, if Mike plays, then consider yourself lucky that you made it out of there with only that little bit of a scratch.
Yeah, and I know you'll cover a lot more on What's Up Boats. Subscribe, follow the channel, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and we're gonna, break down all the playoffs games in a different episode. We're gonna focus on Week 18 right now, but I'm not sure if I'll get the opportunity to talk about Chargers Jags. But real quick, Fernando, if Mike Williams is not ready to go, I think they could get it done regardless. So for me, it's the next teams, the Bills, the Bengals, the Chiefs. That's where they're kind of like, okay, you need Mike Williams. So we'll see what happens. But I'm ready to move on.
No, and the Rashawn Slater could come back as well for that round. So if they're able to beat Jacksonville, that's the thing. And I'm so interested because I'm like, if they can beat Jacksonville, I wonder what happens if they play those bigger teams. So we'll see what happens. But Gilbert, what happened in Seattle?
Yeah, so It was a good game. It was entertaining. Bobby Wagner, almost pulled it off. But
When you tweeted that you guys were going into overtime, I was like, "What the hell just happened?"
yeah, and they had their opportunities, but the game was quickly forgotten as soon as the press conference started because we all know what's going to happen or what might happen with Sean McVay. And I'll just say this, and we're going to cover it on House of Horns with our exit podcast episode coming out. Plug later this week. But he sounds like a guy who's ready to leave. And when you're saying things like, I'm going to take my time to talk to people because this decision affects a lot of people. That's you just trying to get blessings from other people to say, hey, we're not going to be mad at you if you leave. This is for you, man. You put yourself first, put your wife first, put your family first. And once he hears all the blessings, I think he's gone. And, especially having this whole kind of conversations, having a leak out. I don't know if he has any say with that. That to me tells me he's ready to go. So we'll see what happens there, and maybe he could change his mind, have a last minute change of heart. But again, he won the Super Bowl. He's a young guy. He could always come back. I know what you're gonna say, Fernando, but for me, whatever. He's done with everything he can. 6 years. If I was 36 years old and somebody's throwing money at me to just talk about football, which I'm trying to do right now, right? I'll be happy.
Isn't it crazy that at 36 years old, he's talking about, oh, man, I need to take a step back. I need to do this. I need to do that. Can you imagine all these guys that have like been in it for years and like the Pete Carrolls, the Nick Say, like these guys have been doing it since they were 20, like 18, like 19, 20 years old, and they've been doing it. No breaks, no nothing. Like they've just gone through it. And I'm not talking about anything. I'm not trying to compare them to Sean McVay or whatever, but that just shows you how much a losing season takes out of you. Like, you can tell this season took. I think this season took its toll on McVay, and that's why he's kind of thinking about taking. Because I've seen it on Twitter. Some people are like, "Oh, he loses one season, and the guy just wants to take his ball and go home." And I understand that point of view. I understand his point of view. He wants to take a break. I'm all for it. I mean, dude, you can do whatever you want if that's what you feel like is necessary for you. Go ahead. Now, my question is, could they end up stealing the head coach that wanted to stay in LA? And could Sean Payton think, you know what, I could win with that roster. I could win with that team. That's I mean, he wants to stay in LA because I've heard rumors that supposedly Sean Payton might wait it out another year and see what happens in LA. But now I wonder if he would decide if he might go with the Rams roster. But I think I honestly am of the opinion that as soon as McVay says I'm out of here, I think Aaron Donald will retire, and I do think that other pieces are going to fall. I think other people also, other players will decide their futures, like Jalen Ramsey, like Cooper Kupp, like some of these other guys might decide that this is they want to go somewhere else. But I'm really interested to see what the future is. Hell, if Amazon was throwing almost $20 million at me, I'd go too. If that's or whatever, because I don't think Fox will throw that money at him because Fox is about to get Tom Brady. CBS has Tony Romo, so I think Amazon's going to be the one
Yeah.
where he ends up
Get out
landing.
of here,
So
Herb Street. Go
yeah,
get Sean
exactly.
McVay.
Kick him back to College Game Day, and I honestly think that that's where I think that's obviously where he's going to land. Obviously, like Victor Producer said, they don't have any picks to trade for Sean Payton, but let me dream. Let me. I just wanted to think about that. Like, be like, oh, well, what if that happens? But I mean, we'll see what happens ultimately. With them, I'm just really the Rams now again have fascinated me. And if as soon as McVay announced that he's gone, which please, Sean, do not take forever to
Yeah,
decide this.
please.
Get it done by Wednesday at
I'm
least.
actually
Like,
trying to go on vacation next week, so I don't know.
yeah, exactly. No vacation. No vacation
I
after the
need
Super
I need a
Bowl.
week off, man.
No, but I just want Sean. Don't take forever. But now the Rams have fascinated me because I want to see what is going to be their criteria for head coach. I don't know if they would keep Raheem Morris. I think they're going to look elsewhere, and I think they're going to look for a certain individual who used to be in LA as an offensive coordinator, maybe a guy who's doing well with the Fly Eagles Fly. Maybe, I don't know. You never know. I mean, hey, you never know. But it'd be
Yeah,
interesting.
he's doing well.
It'd be
Go.
interesting to
All
see
right.
what their criteria would be for the head coach. But I'm excited to see where the Rams take it next because they're fascinating again with their head coaching search. But